Welcome to another episode of Singapore's Real Estate Explained, brought to you by the JNA Investment Team. This is Grace from the investment team, and today we have our investment analyst, Caleb Fee. Welcome,
Hello.
Mr. Fee, to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so today we'll be discussing a very interesting topic, something that we're going to be exploring, potentially could be viable in our real estate market. So maybe you want to share a little bit more of what are we looking at today?
Okay. So actually, it's quite interesting. There's a recent new opinion piece. Consider waiving BSD for some younger Singaporean couples buying their homes. Okay. And what's interesting is that he's suggesting that Singaporean citizen couples that are below 40 years old and earning over 14K should have their BSD be waived because they are actually quite disadvantaged over those that are below the income ceiling.
Yeah.
So there's actually an income ceiling for both CPF grants as well as eligibility for BTO. So today we'll take a look at their suggestion, and we're going to see whether waiving your BSD is actually a viable option.
Yep. So I think many people will understand that for those who are actually capped by the 14K combined income for both, you are then not eligible to actually apply for a BTO, and you can only look in the resale market.
That's right.
But even for those who are looking in the resale market, if you want to get the CPF housing grant, if your income is above 14K, you are also capped by your income. So you're not going to get the 80K grant, which is quite a significant amount to some people.
Definitely.
So maybe we can explore a little bit more on the difference, for couples who are actually looking in the BTO market, as well as those who, are not eligible and to go for the resale market. What is the price difference that they're actually looking at?
Certainly. We can take a look at 4-room. We use a 4-room for a standard reference for HDB and BTO. So these are actually the price range from the latest BTOs from the second half of 2022 to 2023. Yep. Compared to the median registered resale HDB prices in the first quarter of 2023. So we can take a look at 5 different areas. You can see some are RCR, some are OCR.
Yep.
Queenstown, Kallang, Bukit Batok, Ang Mo Kio, and Yishun. You can actually see here, that the average BTO price is about 150,000 below the median resale price in the same area during the same quarter.
Yeah.
The only exception we have is actually Ang Mo Kio. Ang Mo Kio, the BTO price is going at about the same as the resale price.
Yeah, so essentially when we're looking at overall average for a couple who's actually going for a resale property, you're then looking to pay about 150K more than your counterparts who are actually going for the BTO option.
That's right. But actually there's some downsides of BTO that I think a lot of people also don't really consider. So it's not that BTO is always a better idea, right? So one example of downside is firstly, BTOs take about 4 to 5 years time to build.
Sometimes even longer, especially during
the
COVID period.
Definitely. So where are they going to stay?
Yeah.
It's good for those who actually have a place to stay, right? But if they don't have a place to stay, rental market is very, very expensive right now. And sometimes they have no choice but to stay, right?
Yeah.
So you have to consider this, and this is paid in cash.
Yes.
So you have to consider the downsides of cash flow if you are buying a BTO, but you have to stay in a rental place for about 4 to 5 years.
Or maybe they can stay with their parents, but that then wouldn't be too ideal for young couples who are looking to start their own family.
Exactly. So there's also actually, there's something called the Parenthood Provisional Housing Scheme that helps to target those who have booked a BTO unit to rent. So actually the government is trying to help out those.
From what I know, they have a certain income limit to that also, right?
Definitely, yeah. So the income limit is actually capped at 7,000 or below combined. So monthly household income. So those that are above that already, you will have to look elsewhere for rental.
So you have 2 choices. You either have to rent, and with today's current rental market, you're probably looking to pay quite a hefty sum every month. If not, then you have to live with either side of the parents. Yeah.
So there are a lot of downsides to BTO also. And in terms of annual capital gains, quantum gains, you have to consider the gains from the start of the construction. Yeah. So if you look at BTO, for example, you have, let's say, a 4 to 5 years construction period. You have 5 years MOP. By the time you sell, you have 10 years.
Yep.
So if you're looking from an investment standpoint,
and even for some PLH model, you're looking at
15 years, exactly. So BTO, to be honest, is not that huge an advantage for those below the income ceiling to have.
And I think the government have these policies in place because ultimately it's to provide affordable housing. So they definitely don't want people using HDBs to flip for investment also. That's why there are these policies in place to make sure that yes, people say BTA do appreciate in prices, but your exit strategy then will be if it's for PLH, it should be like 15 years later.
Definitely. Yep. So in my opinion, there is not that huge an advantage of having an option of BTO in my opinion.
So now that we've taken a look at the differences between BTO as well as resale, how about we dive a little bit more deeper into those that actually have to enter into resale and what are the grants available to them?
Okay, certainly. So you look at resale and with and without grants, actually there's a huge difference. So even though the down payment is the same, the key difference, right, raised in the article especially, is that those that are below the income ceiling are eligible for the $80,000 CPF housing grant for families.
Yes.
So those that are slightly below 14K, they will be eligible. Those slightly above will no longer be eligible. It will be completely excluded.
And you can use this grant for your down payment also, right?
Yes, you can use it for a down payment. So there's actually quite a legitimate concern about inequity between those straddling above and below this income ceiling. So what happens, right, is that actually a lot of young couples end up having to ask their boss to reduce their income so that they can get the grants.
So I think this really brings out a legitimate reason, because then you will have, younger couples not wanting to get a pay raise due to them not wanting to exceed the income ceiling. So in this sense, we will then be seeing, young couples trying to go to their bosses to not get a pay raise that they deserve just because they want to get the 80K grant.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And the thing is that 14K, right, for a gross monthly is based on gross monthly income, which means that this excludes their other loans as well.
Yeah.
So if you're a young couple, you have your student loans, student debt, then you minus it off. Actually, there's not much that you can afford anymore.
Yeah.
Then it's not really fair in the opinion of the writer of the article and myself as well. I also feel that there's a bit of imbalance between those that are above and slightly below this income ceiling. Yep.
So I think in the article, it did mention, some of the alternative solutions that could potentially help these buyers who are just above the income ceiling of 14K. So some of the things that they mentioned was, maybe waiving the buyer's stamp duty for them. Do you think it's a viable option for such cases?
I think it's quite a decent attempt. So let me use an example, right? If there is a $800,000 resale flat, if we use it as a benchmark, right, a couple can save 18K, about 18K600. So this will help young couples above 14K to save this amount, reduce their down payment requirements. So 18K6 for the BSD, there's waive lah. But there's still a shortfall if you notice, right?
Yes.
If your income is above 14K, there will still be a shortfall of about 61K. Yeah. And given the down payment being 20%, then overall, for $800,000 resale unit, you will still require $160,000 down payment.
Yes.
Yep. And so a lot of buyers will have some problems with affording for a resale option. For example, a resale condo or resale HDB option because they are missing the down payment requirements.
Yeah. And I think for some people, they did mention for those above 14K income, if they can't go into the BTO market or apply for a new BTO, they can consider the resale condo market. But I think a lot of times they will have to then consider that, some of them have additional loans like student loans that they have to pay off. So then entering into the condo market with the down payment being such hefty might not be the best option for young couples or first-time buyers also.
Yeah, and if they want to start a family, there won't be many options or condo options out there that have the space that they need. Especially new condos nowadays, they are getting smaller and smaller.
So maybe you can share a little bit more, besides waiving the buyer's stamp duties, what are some of the other potential solutions that we can be looking at to help, these young families that are slightly just above the 14K income ceiling?
So I think that if we want to actually make it more balanced between them, actually it's already been done before. So one thing we can do is to tier a CPF grants. So for EHG grant, if you take a look, right, it's actually tiered already based on your income.
Yeah.
But for a CPF family housing grant, it's actually not tiered.
It's a 0 or 1. You either get it or you don't get it. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So why not do something like this?
Yes.
And we can also extend the income ceiling eligibility. Yeah, so that it won't handicap those that fall slightly outside the range.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now property prices are a lot more expensive. Then one way that it can be beneficial is to actually just extend to maybe 16K, 17K. Yeah, so that as one of the main objectives of Singaporeans or the Singapore government is affordability, especially for younger people who don't already own a house, right? So this is one option. This is one solution that we can consider.
Yeah.
So a second possible option has to do with down payment, right? So one option to do with down payment, right, is to actually reduce the down payment requirement, because right now property prices are so high.
Yes.
Many younger Singaporeans may also not be able to afford it.
And I think it was just recently that they just increased the down payment required also for
That's
HDBs.
Right. They increased from 10% to 15%, and then more recently increased to 20% already. Yeah. So what is the issue with reverting back to a 15%, for example, if it actually helps with younger Singaporeans to be able to afford?
First-time buyers, yes.
Yeah, first-time buyers. Right. Another possibility is for those that have a down payment issue, we can actually potentially extend for them a staggered down payment system. So essentially, they don't have to pay the 20% upfront.
Yep.
They can maybe pay it after a year, 5% and then 10% maybe after 1 or 2 years. So this one will actually help because it actually eases up the buyer's cash flow problems.
I think for a lot of first-time buyers, this is one of the main issue, to fork out like the bulk of cash at the start, of even from a CPF, to actually pay down a down payment. So I think by staggering the down payments in this way, it gives them a little bit more buffer, a little bit more free time to actually save up on the cash, so that they don't feel so stressed on the upfront payment also.
Definitely. And I think overall, in my opinion, it will be a bit challenging for governments to come up with policies, because policies like this, right, there'll always be upsides and downsides. So some people who benefit, those that don't benefit, right, they will complain also. Yeah,
it's not easy. So it's really to find a balance on, how do you allocate resources to those that really need it, and but still not leave out those that are in the mid range, where to the public or to a lot of people, they are earning a certain income, but coming down to the first purchase, they still might need some help with the down payment itself.
Definitely.
Okay, so I think that's all that we have for today's topic. Maybe have any last words that you want to share with our viewers before we end it?
I just think it will be very good for the Singapore government to consider looking on the ground what is happening with Singaporean buyers, what are some of the problems that they are facing. Yeah, and ideally, if we can actually find a balance for Singaporean buyers, but also confidence in Singaporeans and PRs, and also foreigners in the Singapore property market, right?
Yeah.
I think it will be very, very good for stable economic growth in the future and property market growth in the future as well.
Yeah. We've come to the end of today's episode of Singapore's Real Estate Explained. This is Grace.
This is Caleb.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.